Welcome. So last week we worked on or finished off the aura series and worked on all the different kind of auric layers, and there were, lots of pretty cool things in there, and took us into places that we didn't necessarily know, and it was all pretty interesting. Does anyone have any questions or lingering kind of thoughts, comments, concerns, worries, ideas from that before we move on? Anyone at all? Or is everyone good?
No.
Everyone's good?
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Great. What I thought we could potentially work on now, and it's up to you guys if you are cool with this or not, is working through, because I've literally just put my book out, which I'm quite excited about. So it's called The Intuitive Heart Revolution, and really it is about helping people connect into their intuition and helping people to work through any sabotages or blocks or whatever it is that might be going on for them. And what I thought we could maybe workshop, and you don't have to have read the book because I'm going to take you through different themes, is just different aspects of that journey. So the journey being starting to awaken into a concept of self, starting to take responsibility and embracing change, working through sabotages. So there are different themes, sabotages that we have in our lives that can hold us back. And then moving on to kind of like an intuitive manifesting process, which I quite like. I did up a bit of a table in, not a table, a graph in the book, which I feel quite excited about, to help people with their kind of daily, weekly, monthly kind of intuitive conscious manifesting of different things, which I think is quite exciting. So if you guys are happy with that, yeah, Carol's happy with that. I thought that we could start working through some of those themes, because ultimately, the conglomeration of all of those different things is helping us in our journeys anyway. And my goal here in this meditation class and in my business is to actually help everybody really connect in and trust themselves with their intuitive knowledge, with decisions that they have to make, with working through any blocks that they have in their lives. And let's face it, everything that we try and do, everything that we're stepping into in our lives is either in flow or we're blocking it. It's one of the other. It's either happening and we're moving forward and it's working, or we feel stuck and we can't move forward and we don't know why. And sometimes it's other things, procrastination and, life gets busy and stuff like that. But ultimately, when we drill down into it, it'll come down to one of two things. We're either in flow or we're blocking. And the blocking is never conscious. Well, very rarely conscious. The sabotaging is often or most likely going to be subconscious, because no one would consciously choose to sabotage themselves. And so there are different themes and different kind of aspects that I thought maybe you guys might be happy to work through, and we can just kind of have them as themes every week if you're up for it. So is everyone cool with that? Something to have a play with.
Sounds great to me.
Sweet. The thumbs up from Carol. Bubba, how about you?
Yeah, cool with
Good
that.
to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first theme that I thought we could talk about is the concept of removing blame. So when we're in a process of conscious incompetence, which is where I'm kind of hitting most people at, conscious incompetence, people who are aware, they're already conscious, and they're aware of all the stuff that doesn't work, right? And this can be a very, very dangerous, very, very sticky place to find yourself, because ultimately, when we, it's all very well and good being crap at something. Okay. So Some people might have low emotional intelligence when it comes to other people. Sometimes people might have a way of being in the world that is pretty crappy. You know, it might be argumentative, it might be combative, it might be reactive, it might be angry, it might be negative. However you kind of come out live. If you are doing that and it's creating a detrimental effect in your life everywhere that you look, there is going to be a belief system or a behavior or an awareness that is driving the behavior. Now, if you're not aware of it, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. Like if you're doing all of those things, if you're creating conflict everywhere, if you're super negative, if you're, you know, one of those people that just, you know, the grumpy bastards in the corner, and you don't know it, everyone's probably going to tiptoe around you, but you are probably very unlikely to ever change that behavior. Why? Because the consciousness isn't there. So if you don't know that you don't know this, who cares, right? But the process of consciousness, or the spiritual journey that most of us go on, starts with, I'm becoming aware of all the crap that I can't do, or that I'm not good at, or I'm aware of all the problems I'm causing. You start to open your eyes and you lose that sense of, oh, well, that's how I am. That's just the world that I live in and nothing can change. All right. Because that's an unconscious, incompetent way of being. And then you move into this conscious incompetence, which is this state of, oh my goodness, I really suck at all of this stuff. And it could be, wow, I can't seem to think positively about anything or anyone. I find it really hard to say something nice instead of creating an argument. I find it really tricky to look on the bright side of life instead of pointing out someone's faults. I really find it hard to have a peaceful, happy household because I find that I always need to pick an argument. I'm really struggling with creating this job of my dreams because, you know, inherently I don't actually really know what I want to do. Whatever it is, whatever that behavior is that you're becoming conscious of, it's very, very hard. And I'm sure it's out there, but I'm just going to put it out to you guys that it's very, very, very hard to have consciousness around what you're crap at and not have some level of shame spiral happening, okay? And that shame spiral can be anything from further sabotaging behavior to, oh my goodness, how have I caused this? I must be shit. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Screw everybody. This is how I am. And you can all go F yourselves because quite frankly, I don't know how to change it and I'm really scared. Right. So there's multiple different reactionary patterns that can happen here. And it does go all the way from the absolute shame kind of, I don't know how to do this, hopelessness energy through to the FU energy. And then even out to kind of a part of you that is feeling just really lost. I know I do this. I don't like it. I have no idea how to change. I don't know what to do. Okay. So the first step in this process is to always come back to fully accepting yourself without judgment, which is a super, super, super tricky one to do. It requires detachment from the drama, from the issues, from the problems, and a complete acknowledge and acceptance of exactly as you are. And why, you know, if you go, well, I hate that about me, so why would I accept it? Or it doesn't really serve me and it causes all of these problems and I don't know how to change it. Why would I accept it? Or screw you, I don't really care what you think and I don't really care what people think about me. I'm just going to stay in this state forever. Because quite frankly, it's too hard and I'm scared. And through all of that, there's a lack of clarity about what can I do about it. I feel very, very stuck and I have no idea how to change it. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know how I got to be like this, and I don't know how to get out of it. Okay. But the first step is that level of detachment and the level of acceptance, because as I've said to you guys many, 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 many times, and I hope I've said it enough that it becomes kind of second nature. There are 3 rules required to fully change these patterns of conscious incompetence. And the first one is acceptance, complete total acceptance that's in alignment with the law of oneness, as in we are all one and the same, and we are all perfect just the way that we are. Okay? Complete total acceptance of all aspects of ourselves requires us to get out of judgment. It's helpful to detach from it, and detachment is just literally creating some space from it. Oh, wow, it's really interesting that I'm doing that. Get curious. Why am I doing that? What is that about? That's a really interesting behavior that I'm doing. Okay, so detachment and curiosity is huge in that. And you know what? I don't do this deliberately. I'm choosing to fully accept myself exactly as I show up because I don't want this, right? And I know that part of me has created this, but I need to accept it anyway, because as soon as I blame myself, the problem gets bigger. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is forgiveness. I fully accept and totally forgive all parts of me that behave like this, because forgiveness is absolutely 100% key. And the third one is love. I 100% and unconditionally love myself and all elements of myself in this situation and the person I'm involved with, and so on and so on and so forth. And these 3 laws, the oneness / acceptance, forgiveness, and love, are what's required to fully heal these patterns of conscious incompetence. Okay, have I lost anyone, or is everyone keeping it? Any thoughts, questions?
Yo.
No, it all makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It makes sense. I thank you, Kate, for starting this journey 2 years ago. And it's actually, every time you talk about it, it's going back into my mind and coming back to that core little 3 words. The only 3 words I can hold in my memory to hold me go through different things. And I can feel myself come from the position where I was 2 years ago to the position I am today. I thank you for that. And yes, it is in my, it's printed on me.
Oh, that's a pleasure. And good. I'm so glad. That's awesome. They really are. Those three concepts are really quite life-changing. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of work on in the meditation today is this concept of learning how to detach and step out of blame and judgment. Okay, because the blame judgment spiral is what keeps us in conscious incompetence. And you guys might have seen people like this before. It's really, I see it all the time, and you might. But people that are constantly talking about their problems, constantly diving into what might be causing their problems without any kind of conversation or concept or awareness of, and now I choose differently, or I wonder if I got it because of this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and this might happen because of this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And man, I really need to work on this, and the list gets longer and longer and longer and longer before I can come out the other side and not be a broken person. Okay, and this happens all the time with people. And I really just have to be super kind of clear about this, is that is not the goal. The goal is not to dive and then keep diving and keep diving and keep diving. The diving is really helpful to get an awareness, and the diving is really helpful to get like a reference point. And the reference point might be, okay, I was brought up this way, or I'm only ever used to being in an argumentative household, or, when I was growing up, people only ever pulled out the negative rather than the positive. It can be just a reference point, because what can happen then is when you get an awareness of the reference point, when you come out of it, there's an awareness of, wow, I grew up in this environment where people only brought up the bad stuff. People only concentrated on my negative points. I only ever got, pulled up for the shit that I wasn't doing rather than stuff that I was doing, right? All this kind of negative reinforcement stuff. And now when I look at myself, my family, my partner, my kids, my life, I'm really proud of the fact that most of the time I can actually pull out the positive stuff and I can have a positive spin on my family, my life, and my relationships, right? And I'm really glad that my influence on myself and other people around me is a positive one. And how cool is that? And you become aware of it because of the reference point rather than the the constant, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Let's just keep diving and diving and diving. Let's just swirl the toilet drain for a while because I really need to feel the pain of this. And I really need to move deeply into my pain and issues. And I really need to kind of, squirrel out every single last element of pain and suffering and issues and concerns and belief systems that I possibly can, because that's what's going to heal me. And no, it doesn't. Never, ever, 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 ever does. It's great for awareness, but if that awareness turns into kind of this big circling the drain pity party that we can't get out of, and I've done this, like I lived here for a very, very long time. It's really hard to get out of it, like really, really, really hard. And it doesn't actually serve us on any level. So this conscious incompetence phase of spirituality or awareness or life journey or whatever it is that you want to call it, is actually, a fairly precarious place to be unless you know how to navigate it. So I'm hoping that, we've already done plenty of this, but I'm hoping just by kind of having a specific kind of meditation and an intention around stepping out of blame and judgment and stepping into a place of awareness and acceptance, that in and of itself can actually flip you out of the circling of the drain and give you permission to try something else. Does that all make sense? And is there anybody that feels like they're circling the drain on anything at the moment?
I don't know.
Is there anything that you feel like you're constantly negative self-talking about? Is there any part of your life that you feel is constantly in the same state that you don't like and that you want to do something differently about?
So, yes.
Go for it, Heather.
I'm just like, I was saying that I'm trying to think of, I don't know, the biggest thing. I feel like the thing that I keep circling around is busyness.
Mm-hmm.
And just, feeling like I'm talking about being busy. I'm always busy. There's always too much to do. There's just scarcity of time. And I know I'm creating it, but I just can't, I don't know a way out. So yeah, I feel like that's probably the biggest thing that's directing a lot in my life right now.
Yeah. Oh, I totally love that one. Thank you, Heather. And it's such a common theme, isn't it? Especially when you've got, a job and kids and a family and, and then your soul work. Don't forget the soul work that you're doing with, your yoga and other things that you're working on. And, it's a big deal, and time can feel very, very precious and very scarce. And I absolutely 100% totally understand that one. So we can potentially touch on that a little bit. Carol, is there something that you would like to add?
Yeah, I was just going to add to Heather's comment, which is really interesting, because I'm just I didn't stop the business. I slowed it right down. And it was exactly what you said, Kate. It was that scarcity of, oh gosh, I'm not busy. It went to another spiral. I just leaned into it, like you say. You lean into it, I'm curious with it, and I came back out again. But it was really interesting. It was like, it's not that you have to fill the void. You're just thinking, well, what do I fill the void with? So that would be another thing, another layer you may like to add on to later on. What would we fill it with? I think it's the skill or the tool that we need to say, oh, that's if we stop, in this case, in this example, if we stop the busyness or slowed it down, what fills that? What is the opposite, or what is the thing that fills it? And in my case, it's being.
Yes.
This last week, I've just been being down at the beach in someone's place, and there's no one around me except me and myself and I.
Yeah.
But I found that it was easier to do it when you've got no distractions around you. But when I go back into that life as the mum, the wife, and the business, and etc., it will pick it up again, and I'll forget about this being.
The being is such an important one, and it is the difference between being reactive and being proactive. And it is the difference between having life do you and you creating intentions for your life. There is a really kind of very distinct difference here. And I just want to kind of really be clear about this, because I don't have time to go to the beach most of the time. Listen to my words. Don't have time. But there's two different ways that we can look at time and priorities. One is which time is not linear. It's not this moment, then this moment, then this moment, then this moment. It feels like that and it appears like that, but it is not like that. It is actually Einsteinian. So it actually kind of is all about perception. It can twist, turn, stretch, tighten. It can be many, many different things and have very many different qualities depending on what we choose. It always comes down to priority and intention. So one of the biggest things that I've had to do with time, Heather, and I think that awareness and presence, Carol, the first one with time is paradoxically, if I'm running short on time, I will slow down and I will breathe for about 30 seconds. Secondly, I ask for time to expand, right? And when you expand time, it slows it down. It really does. It's quite amazing. And then I do my best to not rush in that moment. Now, I do have practitioner friends who, when they're running late, will start going slower so they don't rush, but then they don't ask for that time to expand, and they don't have consciousness around creating or fitting more into that time, so that it tends to send them further late. I can do this at work as well. This has to be a very conscious question and intention that we place. So asking for time to expand is really, really helpful. I love it. And the self-talk around I always have enough time, I always have enough time, I always have enough time is helpful. Now, there's going to be a belief system in there too around I don't have enough time. And the belief system sometimes can be shifted through a meditation or a session, or simply just by positive reaffirmation around what it is that you want to create. So it just depends on how deep, long, and far that belief system is and how much it affects you in that daily life, right? Sometimes it's enough to write in your phone or on your mirror, I have more than enough time. I have heaps of time for everything that I want. I'm expanding time right now. And that is sometimes enough. The other thing to be really super conscious of is priorities. What is your priority? We all have 24 hours-ish in the day. How we choose that, how quickly or how slowly it goes, how we fill those hours are entirely up to us. And as much as we say, no, we can't, we have work, we have kids, we have this, we have that. Absolutely, 100% that is true. And how do I prioritize my time within those limitations? What is my priority for the day? Planning can be really helpful for that. Okay, I just want to get one baby step done today in my plan of X, and I'm going to get it done when I'm sitting in the car waiting for my son to finish his soccer game, right? Or whatever it might be. The priority is always really, really key. Okay, my priority is to learn about XYZ, so I'm going to get up 10 minutes early. So for me this morning, I'm learning how to do marketing because I am, up until now, not great at it because I haven't learned how to do it, and it's not my forte, and it's, you know, I'm still learning. So I set my alarm for 4 o'clock this morning, and I got up, and I've been listening to a webinar since 4 o'clock this morning, because it's set in America, on how to, you know, create my niche and get things all kind of squared down there. And so I was lying in bed on and off from 2 a.m., not wanting to miss this thing. Got up at 3:30, got my phone ready, and just laid in bed from 4 o'clock this morning, or it was about 10 to 4 this morning, and just listened to it while I was kind of dozing in and out, paying attention, you know, coming in and out of it as much as I could, but created the time and the intention to make that happen. And the desire often needs to be strong enough, and the drive often needs to be strong enough. But there is always time. It's always about priority. What is my priority, and what am I choosing to focus on? And when we can get super clear on what our priority is and our intention, then that can be really, really helpful. So Carol, when you're slowing down to kind of create clarity, and when you're slowing down to kind of get that feedback and get that awareness and make the intentional choices. Sometimes our intention isn't to be super busy. Maybe it's not. You know, that the universe often conspires to help us, whether it's positive or negative. And this is why our intentions are very, very powerful. Is my intention to be really busy in my business, or am I constantly saying to myself, oh, I'm way too busy in my business, it's freaking me out, I need to slow down a bit? If my intention is to be busy, but my self-talk is, oh my God, I just can't do this, it's too much, you know, that there's going to be a little bit of mismatch there, and it's going to be a little bit tricky. So when our intentions can follow our thought patterns and our beliefs, then that's when flow happens, and that's when we get out of our own way. So having kind of that series of awarenesses, what am I consciously intending? What is my choice right now? What is it that I want to create? How are my thoughts on a daily basis backing up this intention? So am I constantly saying or thinking bad things? Am I constantly saying or going against what my intention is to create this? And if so, why am I doing that? And what's my concerns, and where am I feeling blocked? And then how do I really feel about this? What's my belief? Where am I actually headed with this? Is this something that I feel that I can do? What's coming up for me on a daily basis? So if I say that I want to do 3 yoga classes a week, but I only ever do 1, why is that? What is my belief system around doing 3 yoga classes a week? And then you can start to kind of break it down a little bit. And again, it's not to dive, it's to create awareness and detachment. You step out of blame and judgment on that and go, okay, cool. All right. So up until now, very powerful sentence. Up until now, I really struggled to do 3 yoga classes a week because, right, I felt overwhelmed. I didn't have time. I was too tired, whatever. Couldn't do it, can't do it, finding it really hard up until now. And now I'm choosing to build up to 3 yoga classes a week. So my priority and my intention is to try for 2, right? I can do 1. My priority and intention is to try for 2. And let's see how I go with that. Let's see how my thoughts line up with that. Let's see how much my beliefs line up with that. And if I keep finding something else that I'm doing in that second yoga class and I'm not getting to it, what process do I need to do to overcome that? Okay, so this is what we're going to do in the meditation. So the first step is stepping out of blame and shame, stepping out of judgment, and just stepping into a place of just full acceptance. Okay, then we can kind of send a whole bunch of forgiveness to the part of ourselves that feels like they, you know, can't make the time, the part of us that feels overwhelmed and therefore can't move forward, the part of us that blames other things, other people, other situations for not getting to that second yoga class, the part of me that knows better and still doesn't show up for myself. Like lots and lots of forgiveness energy is really helpful for that. And then obviously loving the part of us that really just kind of needs that encouragement and strength to kind of get to that second yoga class. What would I say to my best friend, my lover, my partner, my daughter about the third yoga class, the second yoga class, the first yoga class? What would I say to them and how would I help them through it? And I say that to me, and I keep saying it to me, and I give myself that constant reinforcement and that love. And the meditations help with this. So we're going to add the meditations in, because that really clicks into that subconscious mind. Because remember, we don't do this consciously. None of us are doing this consciously. So if we're getting into these situations unconsciously and we're becoming conscious or aware of them, the worst thing that we can do is consciously bash and blame and shame what we unconsciously brought in the first place. All right, because that just serves to keep us there and digs that hole even deeper. Okay, I feel like I'm talking in circles, but is it all making sense? Anyone got thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's really helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go first, Heather.
It's very helpful, and I feel like just the more words you put around it help it sink in a little bit better. So
Awesome.
thanks.
Sweet. Smelia?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. And sometimes I have sort of caught myself giving other people advice, or my children or grandchildren or whatever. And it's like, oh, am I actually listening to this? Does it? I think this actually applies to me as well. And sometimes I sort of lose the thread because I'm, internally thinking, oh, okay, can I expand on this for me? And the other person's going, what?
I totally love that you said that, Smelia, because that's a common issue. And it reminds me of something that I was listening to in the webinar today. And it was an anecdote. How true it is, I don't know, how these stories go, but I really liked the story. So basically there was a guy who went to see Gandhi to try and help him with an issue. And it took him 2 weeks to kind of find Gandhi and meet Gandhi and ask him, something that was really bothering him. And so he went up to Gandhi and he said, okay, look, I have an issue with my son. My son is heavily addicted to sugar. Can you help me out? And so Gandhi said, come back in 2 weeks. And the guy's like, hang on, it took me 2 weeks to get here. That's crazy, but he just said, come back in 2 weeks. So anyway, he goes away, brings the son back 2 weeks later, true to his word, and comes back to Gandhi and says, here's my son. He's addicted to sugar. He can't eat, I don't know what to do. So Gandhi looks at the son and says, stop eating sugar. And the dad goes, hang on, I could have done that. Like, what the hell have you done making me wait a month to get the same advice I could have given? I don't really understand. And Gandhi said, I was eating sugar. So 2 weeks ago, I stopped eating sugar so I could give the advice from an aligned place, right? I stopped eating sugar for 2 weeks so that I could sit in alignment with stop eating sugar. And it's kind of true, because when you want to teach other people, it's more and more and more and more important that we teach by being and doing what we say, and teach by doing and being what we give advice about. So when we want to be a real authority, or when we actually want to really impart good stuff and have people own it, it always comes from a very aligned vibrational place. And this is something that I've had to learn with parenting. It's such a massive thing in parenting. It's a massive thing in just general life stuff. And when we're learning at the schools, so there's a lot of parenting talks that they give us at school, and they're gold dust. But one of the themes that they keep coming back to again and again and again and again with parenting is that we need to be vibrationally neutral about what we teach. Otherwise, it will cause a lot of problems. So if we have an issue with mobile phone usage, right, and we are very, very charged on that, and it triggers the bejesus out of us, and we really have a big pedestal that we jump on and preach from, and we get very agitated and worked up about it, what are the chances that when we try and teach our children about it, they're going to take it on as we say it? Are they likely to listen? Are they likely to rebel? Are they likely to cause problems? And it all comes back to how vibrationally aligned we are with what we're saying. So if we have an issue within ourselves, but we're trying to teach people how to be it as well, the chances of it actually landing and landing really strongly are actually quite slim, because we usually want to follow and we usually want to listen to people who are already achieving it. There's no point in me going to get business advice from someone who is still trying to get their first clients. There's no point in me trying to learn how to market from someone who hasn't nailed it, or lives by it and knows how to do it within their bones, because ultimately the vibration won't align, and it won't actually happen for me, if that all makes sense to you guys. So with whatever advice that you're getting in whatever element of your life you're getting it in, and every time you're wanting to step into something new and different, you're going to be attracted to the person who aligns the most with that vibrational reality for you, and you're going to follow that person, or you're going to listen to that person. And that applies to you. So when we're sitting in this conscious incompetent place, and I want to go from behavior A to behavior B, how do I do that with the least amount of resistance? And how do I do that and not lose myself? And that's all about that kind of detachment, awareness, full acceptance, stepping away from blame and shame. Okay, I feel like I've talked forever. Does anyone have any other questions or thoughts that they have before we dive into the meditation? Are we all good? All sorted?
All good.
Was there a question there?
No. It very logical. All makes sense.
Okay. Heather, did I see you come off? Was there something else that you wanted to add or ask?
Nope, that's all good.
Sweetie weedy. All right. I will jump off camera and we'll get started. Okay. How did everybody find that? Did you have any blocks or any resistances, or did you find that you were able to kind of flow through it? Smelia, go.
I did actually, because it was, I don't know, maybe because I don't feel so well. I just felt like I was looking at a blank mirror and it's like, oh, there should be something there. Oh, damn, there's not.
That's okay. If there's no clarity, that's totally fine as well, because the creating of intentions usually starts from the awareness of where you are there and the acceptance of where you are. So if there isn't anything painted yet, you can just place the intention that you get some clarity on what it is you're looking for. And
I think I was trying too hard.
Oh, well, and sometimes that's true. Sometimes it can be very, very small thing. So it might be, a desire might be, I want to go on a date with someone, right? The desire or the new reality might be, I feel amazing whether I'm single or whether I'm with somebody. What does that look like? And then that can just be well, how do I look if I don't care whether I'm single or together with someone? How do I feel? What does my life look like? How do I live my life? What does my dress look like? What am I doing? And if you have the intention of, I don't care whether I am, or imagine how I'd feel if I went on a date with, what does that look like in my wildest dreams? And that's what you paint. That's the vision that you bring in. And if you're not sure, you can kind of step back to the original issue. Okay, what is my biggest concern right now? What did I look at in the mirror and wasn't happy with? Right? And it could be, wow, I'm just really sick of being alone. Okay, so let's fully acknowledge and accept the part of me that's alone. And what's the opposite of that? Like, what is it that I would prefer instead?
Mm.
Did anyone else have any trouble with clarity or vision, or any thoughts or blockages that they had?
So I feel like it worked really well for me.
Awesome.
And what was really interesting is that I drew the vision on the new mirror, and then with the white light on the mirror behind me, what it did is it kind of washed away what I had seen in the mirror, indicating that like all of the things that I have in the new mirror are already here.
Awesome.
Yeah, which is really cool. It reminded me of the scene from the Thomas Crown Affair at the very end when he had stolen a painting, but had put it back right away, and it had the sprinklers in the building were basically washing away the fake painting over the really valuable one. So that's
that's funny. I haven't seen that. That looks awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it's a relatively old movie, but yeah.
Oh, great. Awesome. I'm so pleased. Oh, I like it. Washing away the paint. I like it. Carol, do you have any thoughts, or are you all good?
All good.
Sweet. Okay, well, I will try and get that up today. Thanks for being here. I'm always so happy to see you guys, and really grateful that you're, putting time into yourselves and prioritizing yourself to be here every week. So that's really super awesome. Or whenever you can get here is super awesome. Very excited. And I hope you enjoy it over the next week if you want to listen to it again. And then next week we'll move on to another part. So have a wonderful week. Lovely to see you guys, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Kate.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.